Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Miami, Season 4, Episode 9. And may I just say that Miami needs Alexia and her storylines because, honey, she carries the show. I noticed that these episodes are kind of stale when the focus is not on Alexia. I'm going to need Miami to really find some ladies who have some interesting stories because Alexia cannot do all this work by herself. And I told you guys that I sent her a back brace for Christmas. But y'all, let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. We start the episode off with the ladies still being in the Hamptons, and it's the day of Larsa's jewelry launch event. Now, we see everybody in the room still sleeping because it's still pretty early. And baby, the camera flashes over to Adriana and Julia. They're both in the bathroom, but Julia is damn near hugging the toilet because she is sick. So Adriana goes to Nicole's room and she's like, Nicole, we need your help. You're the only one in this house who went to medical school, so we need your expertise like ASAP. So now Nicole says that she needs to go to the hospital, get an IV, but she needs to be helped immediately. So now Nicole goes into Adriana and Julia's room and she's asking Julia how she's feeling. Julia's in the bed crying and she keeps saying that she's shaking, she feels cold, and how she just needs some help. So now Nicole runs down to the kitchen to get some garbage bags in case Julia throws up. And while she's in the kitchen, Marysol's in the kitchen like eating and being really rude and snarky. So Nicole's like, I need a garbage bag, have you seen any? And Marysol was being so rude. I was like, Marysol, can't you just help find a garbage bag? I think that Marysol is so annoying, and I'm about to read her down throughout the rest of this recap because she tried it multiple times. I don't know why they brought Marysol back in any capacity. She's not that girl. She never was that girl. She never will be that girl.
You not fab like that to be doing all of that. Learn your place, earn your spot.
Someone is sick in the house. You actually have somebody who went to medical school trying to provide some sort of help, and you want to sit up there and be sarcastic and snide and rude. Like, I just can't stand her. So since Nicole can't find a garbage bag, she gets a fruit bowl. And of course, Marysol is saying something really snarky. It was like, girl, shut up. What can you do? So Nicole's back in Julia and Adriana's room, and now Marysol and Larsa are in the kitchen, and Marysol's telling Larsa what's going on with Julia being sick. So now Larsa's like, wait, what? Julia's sick? Like, what do you mean she's sick? Like, this cannot happen on the day of my jewelry launch. So now we see Larsa and Marysol go into Julia and Adriana's room. They're trying to make sure that Julia is okay. Adriana's outside on the terrace calling deathbed rescue because she wants some paramedics to come to the house immediately. So now we see the ladies in the kitchen and they're all talking about Julia. Alexia says, look, I've been there before and what Julia's going through is a hangover. Simple as that. Larsa agrees and says, remember, Julia was drinking a whole lot yesterday. Like, she started drinking at like 2 p.m. She was drinking wine and then taking shots. Like, there's a reason why she's sick. Now, I will say that I felt like none of the ladies besides Adriana and Nicole really cared about what Julia was going through. I understand that Larsa was annoyed because this is her big day and she wants it to go smoothly. But I felt like Marysol and Alexia were kind of cavalier, like, oh, okay, you know, she's sick, she's having a hangover, like, okay, like, you know, and life goes on. I get the impression from Alexia that she's one of those people who she wants all the sympathy on her, and when it comes to somebody else, she could care less. Larsa seems to be the same way. She seems to be very just uncaring. If it's not about her and her kids, you know, it's like, oh, well, you know, like whatever. Because she didn't seem to be too concerned about Julia either. She seemed to be really annoyed. And she kept saying how Adriana was being so extra about Julia. I felt like Adriana was acting like a concerned friend. In my opinion, I didn't get super extra from Adriana in this moment. Yes, Adriana does do the most, and she can be very aggravating. But in this situation, she did seem to care about her friend. and making sure that her friend was okay. So now the paramedics finally arrive and they hook Julia up to an IV, they check her vitals, and they ask everybody except for Adriana to leave the room. So now they're telling Lisa what's going on, and you could see that Lisa didn't care at all. She was like, oh, oh, that sucks. And it's like, wow, these are really some women who can't seem to extend any sort of compassion to anybody. Lisa has been getting on my nerves this entire season. I'm tired of her and her no storyline. And the way she's acting like a spoiled brat on this trip, I'm just so over it. So it's an hour before Larsa's jewelry event, and the paramedics leave. Julia is fine, but now she's sleeping, and everybody else is getting ready. Larsa says that she's excited and also nervous, and how this launch has to go off without a hitch. She says that she invited a few influencers, and she just wants to make sure that everything is perfect. Now, mind you, I assumed that Larsa's event was going to be at a restaurant or a store, but I was shocked when the party was being held on the terrace. I was like, oh, it's going to be at the house? But anyway, guests start arriving, and this was a very small turnout of people. I thought that she was going to invite a cute 100, 200 people. She only invited about, I think, 25 people. I was like, that's it? So while the launch party's going on, it's now time for lunch. And I have to say that the table was set up beautifully. So now the ladies notice that Lisa is still getting ready. So Gertie's like, you know what? I'll go down and I'll get her. So child, Lisa is still doing her makeup, doing her hair, putting her shoes on. I'm like, so you're going to sit there and miss your friend's launch party? I am all for looking your best. I am all for getting glammed up, but you need to be punctual. I thought it was really rude of Lisa to have missed her friend's party like that because she's still getting ready. I'm finding Lisa to be very annoying, very boring, very self-centered, very self-absorbed. This whole spoiled brat thing that she's doing, I'm like, girl, it's not giving what you think is supposed to have gave, in the words of Rolling Ray. I don't need Lisa to come back for season 5. They can demote her to friend of or just fire her, but Lisa has been pissing me off this entire season. So now Lisa comes up to the terrace to join the rest of the ladies, and of course she has to find a problem because since it's really hot, she wants an umbrella to help shade her. I'm like, girl, you just joined the party. Can you just sit down and shut up? First of all, you live in Miami. Miami is always hot, so why are you finding an issue with being in the sun now? And a quick side note, when I tell you that I love the summertime, that is my favorite season. I think it's the best season. I think that winter is just a very dreadful time of the year. I can't stand the cold weather, so I love being in the heat. I love the sun just smiling down on me, okay? So I would not be bitching and moaning about the umbrella. So now Adriana gets annoyed because she wants the umbrella too. So she's like, Lisa, we also want the shade. So like, can you not? So now her and Lisa get into it. And now Adriana's like, you know what, Lisa, I'm leaving.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun.
I gotta be good.
So while Adriana is storming off, Larsa is embarrassed because she's like, the fact that they're arguing in front of my guests, like, this is not the time or the place for that. Now, Lisa and Adriana were both wrong in my opinion. You guys know that your friend is trying to impress potential clients, potential investors. Why are y'all showing your asses like this? And Lisa, again, the fact that you came to the party late, just sit down and shut up. So now Adriana comes back to the table, her and Lisa make up, and we see the launch party is over, and they're all handing out gift bags to the guests. So Larsa says that it was a huge success, and she was on the cover of Harper's Bazaar. Now, I have a Harper's Bazaar subscription, and I did not see Larsa Pippen on any one of those covers. So I did my research and I saw that it was an international cover. It was Harper's Bazaar, Vietnam. I'm like, girl, if you're going to tell it, then tell the whole truth. Because I was like, wait, I have not seen Larsa on not one of these covers. Now we move on to a short scene with Nicole and Marisol. They're both on the terrace, and Nicole says that she just wants to talk to Marisol to try and clear the air. So Nicole brings up how Alexia was acting sort of confrontational towards her, how she didn't appreciate how they treated her at the dinner, and how she's upset that Marisol would say that she was talking about Lisa and Larsa. So Marisol says, well, honestly, Alexia's going through a lot of stuff right now, so that's why she's in a bad mood. So Nicole says, but Marisol, we all have issues. Like, I have problems, but I'm not attacking anybody. So Marisol says, again, Alexia's going through a whole lot. That's my best friend of 20 years, and what she's going through, you couldn't fathom. So I'm like, Marisol, you are just so far up Alexia's ass. And like I said in the last recap, you and Alexia's friendship has always reeked of Alexia is the cool girl and you're her flunky / wannabe. And how dare you try to act like Alexia's problems are so much bigger and worse than what other people are going through. Also, Alexia trying to figure out a wedding venue for her third marriage, that's not really a problem. Alexia is 51 years old going down the aisle a third time. In all honesty, nobody told her to have some big wedding. She needs to take it on down to the courthouse, have a nice reception, and call it a day. She's acting like she's a 20 or 30-something-year-old and it's her first wedding. Like, grow up. And I would have cursed Marisol out for that. Don't you ever try to act like my problems are so small compared to your friends. I just think that Marisol is such a loser. So then Marisol says, and also, Miami is my town. I have lived there since I was a baby, born and raised there. So I know everybody knows me, and I know for a fact that you run your mouth about everybody. So Nicole says, honestly, Marisol, I think that you're trying to spin stuff because I've owned up to everything that I said, and I apologize for it. So Nicole's still trying to plead her case that she's innocent and did not talk about Lisa and Larsa. Marisol's like, girl, I don't believe you. I heard that you and your fiance run your mouths. And again, I just don't trust you. So Nicole's obviously getting nowhere with Marisol. And the conversation ends with Marisol getting up and going back into the house. And Nicole being visibly upset. But Nicole, this needs to be your last time trying to clear the air with Marisol. It's done. She doesn't like you. She doesn't respect you. Just leave it at that. I would never give Marisol the satisfaction of thinking that I'm pressed to be her or Alexia's friend. Absolutely not. So it's the ladies' last night in Montauk, and it's also Lisa's birthday dinner. So everybody's all glammed up. Dinner looks amazing. They have short ribs with mashed potatoes and asparagus, my favorite.
I love it. I love it.
And Julia is no longer sick. She is alive and well, and she's joining them for dinner. I said, ain't that something? She was sick all day, but she pops back up for a good dinner. So Julia's telling the ladies how she feels great now and how it wasn't alcohol poisoning, how the paramedics checked her vitals, they checked her heart, but something else was terribly wrong. So Alexia's rolling her eyes like, girl, just be honest, stop lying. You were hung over, it is what it is, just be truthful. And I'm not gonna hold you, I would have been rolling my eyes too, because Julia was trying to drag it out. Like, okay sis, we get it, you were ill, we remember, but let's move on along. And nobody wants to hear about how you were vomiting all day when we have some delicious food in front of us. I know I don't want to hear it. So again, I'm happy you're good, but let's change the subject. So now Kiki brings up her disappointment in how they didn't meet any cute guys while they were in the Hamptons. She's like, damn, it's like I'm going back to Miami dry. And I do have to admit that this Hamptons trip was very boring. I'm like, how did y'all not do or see anything? They were pretty much in that house all day. There are some fabulous clubs and restaurants in the Hamptons, and the fact that they didn't see or do much, just a mess. And this past summer was everything, all right? Like, things were open, so they can't even use COVID as an excuse because, baby, the Hamptons were open. I was there. I know. I have to say, the Miami cast overall, yes, we do see fabulous bags, shoes, cars, and homes, but overall, these are some very boring ladies. So now Kiki changes gears and she starts asking Lisa what her sexual fantasies are. And everybody at the table, especially Alexia and Marysol, are like, really? Like, we do not discuss fantasies. Like, can we just eat our dinner in peace, please? I'm like, Marysol, just because nobody wants to imagine you having sex with anybody, don't hate on everybody else. So now Lisa says that her fantasy is her husband and how she's dreaming about him right now. So they're all like, girl, you know you are lying. So now Lisa gets really weird and she's like, don't you guys think that my husband is cute? Like, isn't he sexy? And they're all like, I'm not even going to answer that. Like, no comment. So Marysol tries to be real shady in her confessional. And I was like, Marysol, again, you are the last person who needs to be making any remarks about anybody's looks. And I'm going to be real nice on you. But I said, girl, just keep it real cute. So now Alexia joins in on the fun and she starts asking Lisa if her and Lenny have hall passes. So Lisa says that she does and that if she ever met Channing Tatum, she could have sex with him. So Julia doesn't even know who Channing Tatum is. I was like, girl, like, how do you not know who he is? So now Nicole says that her crush and her hall pass is John Mayer, and Adriana says Brad Pitt. And then Lisa interjects and says how much her son resembles Brad Pitt, but just cuter. So Adriana's like, girl, what? Like, why do you have to make things weird? So now Alexia says that all of her fantasies have always come true because she used to have the biggest crush on this telenovela star when she was a little girl. Like, she would kiss the TV and dream about him. And then she said a few years back when she was still married to Herman, she was in LA at the Beverly Hills Hotel and she bumped into this actor. So she says that he was giving her the eye and he had, invited her to, do some things. But the reason why she didn't have sex with him was because she was still married to Herman and she didn't want to break her vows. Now I said, sis, the way that Herman was out here cheating on you and had a secret lover, you might as well have just had sex with your celebrity crush. So now Larsa says that she doesn't have a fantasy because all of her fantasies come true as well, and how she had dreamt about this particular actor and athlete, and she got with both of them. So now they want to know who the actor is, and she says she's not going to say anything. But she does give the initials, and she says MJ. So Kiki blurts out, Michael Jackson? I said, girl. I was screaming. Now, the minute Larsa said actor and the initials MJ, I said, oh, Michael B. Jordan. I said, and that definitely fits because we all know that Michael B. Jordan has a type, even though he is now with Lori Harvey, and we all know that Larsa loves them young, rich, and black. So I definitely do believe that it was Michael B. Jordan. So Lisa's birthday dinner is over, the cake comes out, and Larsa tells everybody that she has one more surprise, and she brought over a DJ. So they're dancing in the living room, and they're having a great time, and that's where the episode ends. Again, I just feel like for Lisa's birthday dinner, they should have went out and been among the people. I mean, just my opinion, I don't know. Like, this trip just fell flat. And again, I feel like these ladies, for the most part, have very dull personalities. So there's only going to be but so much fun that's going to be had. Like, even with Lisa having the penthouse at the Faina Hotel and they're going to bed early. Like, they're just not a fun group. But again, that was the episode. Thank you all for watching. And as always, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.